GenuinelyLAS and welcome back to where it all began, the Hyundai N brand. Now today's a stupidly exciting day because more specifically I'm talking about the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. Now people who have watched the channel from the beginning will know that I had i30N for just over 3.5 years, so the N brand means a lot to me. I've been there pretty much from the beginning, and this is the newest iteration of their performance car because Hyundai UK no longer sell the i20N or the i30N. Now it's fair to say the hype around this car is pretty immense. People are talking about it as the saviour of the performance car for petrolheads for a variety of different reasons we'll get into. And I'm really excited to try it out because yes, it's not a direct rival or comparison to the i30N, which is actually less than half of what this car costs at £65,000. This is all you can get for a Hyundai performance car nowadays, and this is just the beginning. Gonna have this, the Ioniq 6N, and who knows what else down the line. So this really has to be pretty good coming straight out the gates, just like the i30N was. So let's delve in and take a look at how good it is from an i30N owner's perspective, and firstly consider, does it actually retain part of the Hyundai N DNA? Because realistically speaking, if you think about BMW M cars, Audi S cars, RS cars, they all have a DNA that runs through them. We haven't really had to experience that in the Hyundai N department because the i30N and the Kona N had the same engine. They're pretty much the same car. The i20N was, again, a little bit different, but this is a massive departure from what we're used to. So I'm interested to see what the lineage is like to the other Hyundai cars. So technically speaking, what are we working with? Well, in this we have an 84 kilowatt hour battery up from the 77 kilowatt hours you find in the normal Ioniq 5. We also have 641 peak brake horsepower. That's in boost mode, but on a normal, outside of that, we're looking at 601 brake horsepower. Dimensionally wise, quite interesting. The Ioniq 5N is 20mm lower than the normal Ioniq 5. It's 50mm wider and 80mm longer. That's mainly due to the fact there's a massive diffuser on the rear. Now those dimensions, it's no surprise that compared to the normal Ioniq 5, the Ioniq 5N looks a lot more aggressive, a lot meaner, a lot cooler in fact, and it's got a nice road presence about it. So when you look outside the mirrors, you see the fenders on the side and you think, wow, this is something special. This is what I really love about, this is what I really want from performance cars, when you can look at normal model versus performance variants and see a decent sized change in the way it looks. It's not what it's all about, but to me that's a massive part of having a performance car. Feeling when you're walking up to it, it's just more aggressive than a normal car. This is why I'm let down by stuff like the Golf R and the Golf GTI. Well, now stepping inside, it feels a little bit like business as usual inside the Ioniq 5N. It almost feels like a next gen version of what we're used to in i30N, Kona N, i20N. You've got the N brand steering wheel, you've got blue stitching dotted around the place. Obviously on the steering wheel, you've got the N button, you've got the drive mode button, which I'm used to from the i30N, which the N button takes you directly to N mode. If you press it enough times, you get into your custom modes. You also have an NGB button on the steering wheel, N grin boost. Basically, if you press that button whilst you're in N mode, that's when you get the full 640 horsepower for 10 seconds. That takes time to recharge afterwards, but that makes it feel like a rocket ship. This car is wicked fast from the off, but I don't think anyone really is saying no to more speed. Aside from other obvious additions to the Ioniq 5, like the N light grin seats and the Alcantara here and there and the stitching, there's like checker flags everywhere around the cabin. You've got them on the doors on the front, you've got them on the rear, you've got them on the pedals. I just like it. You've got them on the door, the plaques just by the door openings. They're dotted around the place, and it's just quite cool to see. It makes you smile when you see them. Otherwise, you've got other signature N features, like you've got the performance blue paint, but on the Ioniq 5N you can actually get it in matte as well. You've got the red side skirts, red trim on the diffuser, on the front bumper. It feels like you're sat in N heritage in a way. I know it's a very new brand, but it feels like you're sat in N heritage, which I really like. Now, everything I've just said is all well and good, but if you're getting this car, if you're getting an Ioniq 5N, you're probably getting it large for the practicality aspect as well, the performance and the practicality. And I've got to say, it's pretty loaded in here. You get quite a lot of storage room around the cabin. Again, it's very similar to the normal Ioniq 5. You get I would say at least 4 USB-C cables. There's a wireless charging cable. Apple CarPlay is wireless as well. You get a heads-up display, which is really nice. I don't use it that much, but if you want to, it's easily there for you. It's not an additional option on the Ioniq 5N. And on that, the only option you can get aside from paint on the Ioniq 5N is the glass roof, which I'd recommend as an option. It would bring some more light into the cabin because it is quite dark in here. There are it's a lot of grey, like a lot of dark grey going around. One thing I noticed about driving the Ioniq 5N was just how easy it is to drive in normal and eco. Now, call me a wuss, but because this isn't my car, I was immediately a little bit worried about wrapping it around a tree, considering it has 640 horsepower and is capable of 0 to 60 in under 3.5 seconds. I was very surprised by how easy it is to drive in normal and eco mode. It's very relaxing. To be fair, I will say the eco mode is a bit anemic. Like, just as I was driving up a hill, it was just really struggling to move under like minimal acceleration. And then the moment you put your foot down to get a bit more, you get the surge of power the Ioniq 5N has under its belt. So I find normal mode bridges the gap between responsiveness and also just everyday drivability. Sitting position wise, what's it like in here? Like, I've got a great view over the bonnet, but let's not forget this is not a hatchback, it's an SUV, and it feels like an SUV. Very comfortable, supportive end bucket seats that we know and love, but you can pump the chair pretty low down so you feel like you're nice and tucked in, but that's the reality of having an SUV. To arguably one of the most spoken about features of the Ioniq 5. First of all, the E sound. So you've got 3 sounds. You've got either the 2-litre turbo noise, we get the i30N or the Kona N, vision noise, which is almost like a futuristic noise. Imagine going down more to the Porsche Taycan route. Or you can have a supersonic noise, which sounds hilariously ridiculous. And for the most part, in all honesty, they're a bit gimmicky. But when you pair the noise with the dual clutch, with the E shift, which mimics a dual clutch transmission, it's just God. Oh, this starting to me is gone because it's making me smile already. Oh, I don't for a second think this makes this car feel any less like a massive 2.2 ton barge than it is. But my God, I mean, it immediately feels like the most fun electric car you've ever driven. Good God, this is fun. Good God, this is fun. Oh my God, this is wicked. And obviously this is 2.2 tons. You need a lot of stopping force. I don't know if you saw from the clips already, but the brakes on this are massive. 400mm at the front with 4 piston brake calipers. They are huge. I mean, I've got a big head, but you've got to admit that probably does rival it for size. And despite all this fun, despite the weight, you can still get 270 175 miles of range out of this, which to me is pretty impressive. Don't get me wrong, I think it's fair to say if you've not tried the E-Shift, it's a gimmick, but they put a lot of work into a gimmick. I mean, absolutely rapid. I mean, for instance, when you shift down their E gears, you get engine braking. It feels like you've got engine braking. It's an all-encompassing experience. It doesn't just feel like a fad that, or a gimmick that's been just put in there last minute just to get some views on Instagram. It feels well thought out. It feels like people who have clearly driven the i30N, for example, have thought, okay, does this actually feel realistic? Does this actually feel like an i30N? If you're coming from an i30N, it might feel a little, it will feel a bit different, let's be honest. But I mean, as dual clutches go, it's wicked. So when I say NDNA, what do I mean? Well, to me, the N brand has always been synonymous with cheeky, leery, kind of ludicrous hot hatches that were just silly and really fun. It would always make you smile. And now technically, obviously, this isn't that, because one, it's not a hot hatch, it's a small hot boat. Two, it's electric, there's no combustion engine involved. And three, it's obviously a different breed of, it's also a different customer for the most part. Most people who buy an i20N or an i30N, new and especially used, aren't going to go and buy a Ioniq 5N. Anyway, not straight away. But to me, this symbolises something a bit different. Yes, I think it is still part of the NDNA. It still has that fun aspect, that it's cheeky, it's got a drift button. These things that other car companies won't do straight away. They'll look at Hyundai and think, oh, I'll put that in our next car. I think it's a trailblazer in a way, because to me, this is the first electric car that is really fun, that I've got in and thought, this is hilarious. This is actually hilarious. So I have to give the N brand props, because they stayed true to who they are. This is still very much an N car, and it feels like it when you drive it. So yes, this is an electric car, but to me, it toes the line between electric and combustion. If this is the future of performance cars, or anyway the near future, it's a really exciting proposition when you see brands like Toyota build manual gearboxes for electric cars. The future is bright for electric performance, and I think brands like Cupra have so much to learn from this, because they are a performance brand, but if you get in any of their cars, it feels like you're sat in essentially a spicy Volkswagen rather than an electric Cupra. This car makes me so happy, because to me, this is Hyundai coming out on top of electric performance cars, just like it tried to do with the i30N and the i20N. What a machine this is. What a machine. If you haven't, even if you don't know if you want to get on for sure, you've got to give it a go, because it will change your perspective on electric performance cars. I'm telling you now, it will change your perspective. It is so fun. I cannot wait to give it another go and drive for a longer period of time than I have today, because it is wicked. Well, thank you all for watching though, I appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed the video, let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think of the car as a whole. And if you're a fan, drop a like, drop a subscribe, and thank you again to Bristol Street Motors for letting me drive this car, take this car out for the day. It's a precious bit of kit. Give it a go. That's all I can say to you, give it a go. And let me know what else you want. Give it a go, you have to give it a go. Thank you for watching.